both teams, obviously, but USC that has seemed to struggle a bit from the three-pointers.
Take a look at USC's upcoming schedule here for the women of Troy. This is the second game of the season and the home opener against Cal Poly. So you got to look. CSUN comes to the building next week. Then it's Santa Clara and Notre Dame. All of those games at home, as the Trojans have a 4-game homestand, their longest of the year. That game against Notre Dame on November 23rd, I think will tell us a lot about this USC group against a big ranked team.
Oh, absolutely, considering Notre Dame is not only a huge rivalry game for USC, but considering that team is ranked 6th in the country.
It'll be a big day for USC athletics in general. That game earlier on in the day, and then USC takes on UCLA in football at the Rose Bowl. Big day for rivalries. Inside, Robinson lays it up with the left hand, and Cal Poly is the first team on the board here in the fourth quarter. 2 starters on the floor for USC, Iria Fenn and Smith, as Samuels steps back and knocks down the 3. Malia Samuels extending her career high to 12 points. She has been the answer from beyond the arc for the Trojans. 3 of the 5 makes for Malia Samuels, the sophomore from Seattle. Mary Carter with a nifty finish over Clarice Akunwafo. First 2 possessions turn into buckets for Cal Poly here in the fourth quarter. Can't say enough about what Malia Samuels has done. She's up to 12 points. We mentioned that's a new career high.
Especially coming off of an injury. It's just been so exciting to see her really put on a show today here.
Akunwafo down the lane and lays it up and in. First points of the day for Clarice. Trojans nearing the 80-point mark here in the fourth quarter. Kennedy Smith mirroring up against Borland, forces a pass away to Carter. Offense has looked much more smooth for Cal Poly here in the fourth quarter. See if the Trojans can lock it up defensively. 10 on the shot clock. Gooseby trying to drive on Akunwafo. Inside for Carter, and she's fouled by the smaller Samuels. Trojans bring in a couple of substitutions here in the fourth quarter. Heckel comes back in and Von Oelhoffen the starter. Aaliyah Gales checks out. Didn't score in a few minutes for the Trojans. Had an open look from 3 and almost knocked it down. Up top, Carter, fresh 20 on the shot clock for Cal Poly after the foul. Borland is double teamed. Picks up her dribble. Five on the shot clock for Cal Poly. Nothing open right now. Carter goes towards the basket, loses her handle. The shot clock runs out, but the Trojans control possession. Heckel quickly ahead. Von Oelhoffen thought about a 3. Instead, it's Heckel into the paint. Just swirls around and knocks down the layup. Too easy for Heckel.
Yeah, Heckel's been having quite a game. That boosts her up to 13 points here so far.
12 minutes, scored just 2 points in the season opening game against Ole Miss. Much better performance than her second career game today. Borland down the lane has it knocked away, but it stays with Cal Poly. Pickle, one of the things we've talked about is a plethora of different players for USC that have the ability to score. Feel like JuJu Watkins is going to score every day. Kiki Iriafen will join her every now and then. But there's so many different players that threaten you if you're an opposing team playing USC.
Definitely, and given USC's strong lead here throughout the entire game, it's been so great to see so many players get opportunities to score and really take advantage of those shots and make some great baskets here.
Carter's off on the 3, and Heckel's ahead with a rebound. 2-on-2 for the Trojans, and Heckel has it poked away out of bounds off her hands. Trojans have an 80-31 lead, just under 8 to play here in the fourth quarter. Carter shovels it off. Up top for Shaw. Shaw has been held to just 6 points, and Watkins takes it out of her hands and draws a foul right off the floor. For the Trojans, that's the 15th steal of the afternoon, and Annika Shaw commits her 3rd personal foul.
Yeah, look at the replay there. I mean, JuJu's so close to running away with it, but couldn't quite stay up. Now back in play.
Shaw just impeded her way to the basket, didn't want to give up the points. And Watkins is fouled again. If this is on Shaw, it's her 4th, and it is. Only one more for Annika Shaw to give before she's out of the game. Trojans up 80-31, 6:58 to play, 4th quarter, and inbound from behind the basket. Watkins at just 16 points. She's played phenomenally, but below her normal average of scoring, and she has it stripped. Carter the other way for Cal Poly, playing much more evenly here in the second half. But Heckel has the steal, ahead for Smith. The two true freshmen combine as it swirls down for Smith.
And you know, freshmen Heckel and Smith are both McDonald's All-Americans and have really just shown their power on this team so far. They're so new to this USC team, but they look like veterans out there on the court.
Heckel brings it up. Part of a freshman class that was the top-ranked one in the country. Rhea Marshall a deep 2. Can't connect, and the rebound skids its way to Gabby Robinson. Cal Poly quickly ahead, out of the hands of Perez. She saves it, and Watkins is right there to say thank you. With the left, Watkins into the paint, out for Heckel. Von Oelhoffen passed up a 3, whips it ahead. Heckel tries. Rattles in! Took a second there on the iron and decided to fall down for 3. Heckel's up to 16 points, tied with Watkins for the team lead.
What an incredible performance from such a new player on this team to be tied up with Watkins this far in the game. Really just proving how hard she's playing in this game and really performing on her A game today.
Kaylee Heckel has 16 points and 5 steals. And a double dribble called against JuJu Watkins. And you tell by her body language, she does not understand the call. You never want to think about a future without JuJu Watkins, but Pickle, the truth is that in a couple of years, Watkins will be on her way to the WNBA and likely the #1 pick in the draft. Looking at these freshmen, with Heckel, with Smith, with Howell, and some of the other ones that have played, there's a bright future even after JuJu Watkins' time is done.
Oh, absolutely, and I think that's what's so uplifting about this USC team and just this energy that Lindsay Gottlieb has created. Like, you have these players like JuJu, but you also have these new freshmen coming in who are more than rising to the occasion, which is incredible to see.
Maybe led by Kaylee Heckel, tied for the team lead, 16 points. Under 10 on the shot clock for Cal Poly. And the pass sails over the head of Lichty, the starter. Heckel was right there with good defense. She's been doing it on both ends of the floor. We've got a timeout on the floor with 4:52 to play here in the 4th quarter, and the Trojans have raged ahead here at Galen Center to an 85-33 lead.
I mean, running out of time here in this 4th quarter, and USC has really not let up. I mean, we have seen less and less points being scored as the quarters go by for USC, but they have not given up the fight and the strong defensive performance, which has been the story of this game.
Freshman the story, the defense couldn't craft a better home opener for USC. Trojans no longer on pace to score in the hundreds, but they have been making their mark on both sides of the court. And you see there in the background, a couple of big JuJu fans, the AJ sisters. They're liking what they're seeing here on Big Ten Plus. Stick with us for the final stretch of USC's home opener here at Galen Center.
What makes the Big Ten so big? For starters, it's 18 of the country's most iconic universities. It's Defend the Rock, Jump Around, and the biggest bass drum on earth big. It's a stadium so big.
They had to name it the Big House. Go Blue!
It's dotting the I big.
Let's go Bucks.
It's all-time leading scorer big. And now that USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington have joined the party, it's feeling real big. Right, Matt?
I'm ready. Fight on. Boys up, baby.
Let's get it. Go Dogs.
Nah, it's all about the O.
The Big Ten Network. This is big.
Back from the City of Stars here in Los Angeles. It's been all Trojans at the Galen Center here in USC women's basketball home opener. Trojans have an 85-33 lead over Cal Poly. One more stretch to go here from LA. Pickle, 6 Trojans in double figures here in this game. Kaylee Heckel and JuJu Watkins both lead the team with 16 points, but unlike some teams that have one leading scorer and everybody else trailing behind, the Trojans have spread the wealth today.
Absolutely, and I think balance across teams is so important in basketball. You often see teams with 2-3 stars, but so exciting to see such a loaded roster for the USC Trojans.
Watkins, as well as Rhea Marshall, Kennedy Smith, you see there 3 starters getting a rest to start after the break. The Trojans have a complete group of backups on the floor. Howell, Shamblin, Gales, Iwachukwu, and Forrest Steer are the 5 on the floor. That's 4 true freshmen as well as Aaliyah Gales. Shamblin seeing her first minutes this afternoon, brings it up the floor. Neon orange shoes match the basketball. Finds Howell in the corner, doesn't want the 3. Into the paint she goes, loses her handle, and Cal Poly has it. Chance here in the final 5 minutes or so for the Mustangs to build some momentum for the rest of their schedule. It's not often you get a chance to test yourself against an opponent of this caliber in USC.
Absolutely. What a great kind of starting game for Cal Poly. Obviously, they had the big win against UC Merced, but I think it's important to have games that really test you as a team and allow you to grow for the remainder of the season ahead, as it's so early in the season. Because
the Trojans have built such a vast lead, they get valuable minutes for their true freshman class, including Shamblin and Forrest Steer, who are playing for the first time today.
Which also gives you kind of good insight into the future of the team, as we discussed earlier, just seeing them really hold their own as true freshmen here on the court.
Gales and Howell a little off on the communication, so the Trojans turn it over. Final 4 minutes here at Galen Center of the 4th quarter. Shaw with a hip-high dribble, low skip pass up top for Molion Hidalgo. Tight defense for USC, and they're switching around. Almost force another steal, but it's out of bounds off of USC and stays with Cal Poly. Feels like even when the Mustangs have scored, Pickle, that the shot clock has been dwindling so low because the shots, at least the open ones, are not there early against this USC defense.
Yes, there's definitely been a lack of shots made, and as we can see, the clock just keeps running down.
Shaw for 3, can't hit. The Trojans get the rebound. Forrest Steer, the Trojans have numbers. Gale steps back, doesn't take the 3. Forrest Steer into the paint, banging bodies, and knocking it off the glass. Ryan Forrest Steer, the freshman from Texas, is on the board with her first collegiate points. That time she took the contact, laid it up, and used the window to her advantage. Nora Perez able to spin and lay it in over the taller Vivian Iwachukwu. Forrest Steer thought about a 3. Instead, she's back in the paint. 4 straight points for number 4. Ryan Forrest Steer going back to the basket. She's got 2 consecutive layups. Forrest Steer, Pickle, one of those freshmen that maybe wasn't on the first row of Trojans to get into the game off the bench, but she's seeing time with this big of a lead, and she's one of the ones that gets to benefit from the Trojans being up by so many points.
Absolutely, and I think, having these freshmen who don't normally get a lot of minutes in games, like, they're taking advantage of every single minute they get out there to really prove themselves and be a factor for this team.
Brooklyn Shamblin, another one of those freshmen. She's got it knocked away from her in the backcourt, and Molion Hidalgo grabs the basketball but steps out of bounds. Shamblin, also a freshman. She's from Carpinteria, California. Went to Oaks Christian High School. Trying to hear some signs from Lindsay Gottlieb on the other side of the floor as Forrest Steer joins her to inbound. Shamblin opens up. She'll bring it the length of the court for the Trojans. Finds her fellow freshman Howell and gets it back. Howell into the corner. Left-hand dribble, steps around, and takes one too many. Travel goes against Avery Howell, and the Trojans turn it over. Pickle, USC had 26 turnovers in the season-opening win over Ole Miss. They got the W, but a number you can't see every single game. Today that was just their 14th, so moving in the right direction.
Definitely. USC has really, shown how composed they can be under pressure, which they really showed at Ole Miss considering how close of a final that is. But even in a dominant performance over a lesser-ranked team, it's been exciting to see how they really hold their own.
Vivian Iwachukwu with a strong offensive rebound, and she's fouled trying to work her way to the cup. So we've seen the first career points for Ryan Forestier. Still haven't seen Shamblin or Iwachukwu get on the board, seeing their first career minutes in this game. I'm sure Lindsay Gottlieb has been pleased with the way the game has gone so far, but would like to see those two get their first career buckets.
Definitely. I mean, they are out on the court for a reason. She wants them to show out today in the home opener.
Forestier thought about a three, passes it up. Into the paint she jumps, and she can't hit on the little floater. Molion Hidalgo driving for Cal Poly. Much tighter second half, and she's blocked. Howell with a straight-up rejection. Even though the Mustangs have been playing better defense here in the second half, having trouble turning it into offense, especially here in the fourth quarter.
Look at the replay here. Just once again, like time after time, the Trojans have shown how strong they are defensively, and that is going to be a key factor for this team as they go forward with the rest of the season.
Gooseby turn around up from the paint, misfires, and Perez brings down the offensive board. Second chance for the Mustangs, just over a minute to play. Trying to go through this vaunted USC defense that has 19 steals, 7 blocks. Another one there, but first the foul goes against Forestier. A little too much physicality this time for the freshman.
Definitely exciting to see, gaining confidence out there on the court, considering it's, their first minutes that they're gaining in college, and just showing the pure dominance out there and competitive blocking is really exciting to see.
Gooseby heads to the line and misses the first free throw. Trojans have kept the Mustangs off with a charity stripe today. That was just the third free throw attempt for Cal Poly all afternoon long. Gooseby off on the second. She goes 0 for 2. And the Mustangs foul trying to grab the offensive rebound. It goes against Nora Perez. Trojans have fouled 10 times, but rarely has it been in the act of shooting. Free throw discrepancy is huge. Trojans 15 of 18. The Mustangs just 2 of 4. Minute left for this USC group. Iwachukwu down the lane. Fouled. We'll see if they count the shot.
If they do count the shot, that would be Iwachukwu's first points of the day and her collegiate career.
And they say count it. Iwachukwu gets the layup. They, I believe, have waved it off here inside Galen Center. They don't say the layup was made. Instead, Trojans have gone into the bonus. So Iwachukwu was at the line for 2 free throws. She hits this one, she's in the career record books. And she is, her first career points. Trojans up to 90 on the afternoon. Under 60 seconds left. One last gasp for the Mustangs here at Galen Center before heading back to Sloan. Up top for Knapp, her first minutes. Gooseby inside. Perez drives to the basket. Another block. How about one more for good measure? Up ahead, Forestier, twirling around for the basketball. Rolls on the floor to Gales. Shamblin open for 3. And the lefty can't hit. Offensive board, Forestier spinning in the paint. She misfires. No fouls. And this is likely the last possession.
And the crowd is on their feet as USC has taken this one 90-35. What a game.
The Trojans win 90-35, helping out the home fans in the home opener. It is a monster win for USC as the Trojans improve to 2-0. Offense, defense, the Trojans did just about everything right. Didn't quite get to the 100-point mark, but you knew it from the first minute. The Trojans were going to be dominant today.
Absolutely. They didn't even need to hit that 100-point mark. They showed quite a performance here today on all sides of the ball, and what a great showing for their home opener today at Galen Center.
Trojans led by a couple of scorers that got to 16, Kaylee Heckel and JuJu Watkins. But the scoring was spread around, 6 Trojans in double figures. And this group that has waited a long time for the USC season to start here at home had to wait an extra game as the Trojans went to Paris, but they are not disappointed with the way that USC played today at the Galen Center. The band, the student section, everybody enjoying a Saturday without football because Pickle women's basketball program is back at USC.
Absolutely, and women's basketball was the story of USC last year. Probably USC's most successful team last year, and they're definitely on the road to be that once again. Here the team comes running back out.
Well, the Trojans from the first minute in the first half asserted their dominance. A 40-point first quarter where the USC Trojans didn't hit a lot from deep, but were hounding the basket, grabbing offensive rebounds. Felt like every time they were able to lay it up and in and draw contact for and-one opportunities. They would hit the rare shot from further out, but this game was won in the paint where the Trojans really dominated in the first half.
Absolutely. So exciting to see these highlights. Just showed how dominant this team really was. There we see an incredible three-pointer. But yeah, all across the board, incredible.
Well, this game was produced by students at USC as part of the Big Ten Network Student U program. And we really appreciate you tuning in. For my broadcast partner, Pickle Coleman, I'm Jack Smith. We'll see you next time on Big Ten Plus.